The tree is set, the gifts are ready, but the real action is just getting started.
What gifts do we have for you?
From the first tear of wrapping paper to the final whistle, we are live. Join SportsGrid all Christmas Day for the ultimate coverage. Don't just celebrate.
Somebody pinch me. Is this real?
Win. Merry Christmas from SportsGrid.
When did we become, so bitter that we can't accept another man's apology? We make mistakes all the time. And as a grown man, you have to say, I'm sorry every once in a while. And it's okay to say that. And the apology, I think, should be accepted. And in this case, I'm accepting it.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Arvel Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is if they're playing a Joe Bowman show.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Who is that?
here, but I have no idea.
Do you even know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Donnie? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day on this Christmas. Happy holidays to you. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio as we've got, about 10 minutes to go in the third quarter now with Minnesota. The Vikings have the ball. They are inside their own 20-yard line, and we're going to see if Max Brosmer can get anything going offensively for this Vikings team who were gifted a short field I think on the Detroit 15-yard line in the first half after a botched snap and Jared Goff fumbling the ball, recovered by the Vikings. A couple of plays later, they were able to punch it in, but that was it. Outside of that, this is not a whole lot of offense at all here, but they are going to have to punt the ball back. And I don't know, what do you do here? I mean, if you're O'Connell, what are you doing to try to get anything going here? It just feels like he's not nearly taking enough shots down the field. And I don't know why. I don't know what he's got, what he's worried about here at this point.
You have a quarterback who has very little experience, but you're at home, and you got to say that this is one of the softer landing spots against this Lions defense. So you might as well open it up a little bit, because almost to a point, like, you almost just want to see what you have with him as a quarterback. Like, can he be – because, like, there are – like, Jacoby Brissett came in for Arizona, super valuable quarterback. Gets the ball out, throwing the ball a ton. They're live in some of the games. They won at Dallas. You might as well see if you have one of those higher quality backup quarterbacks, because you have nothing to lose at this point. Because many teams, the starting quarterback to backup quarterback differential is vast. And you want to know if you're in a position to see if you actually have viable backup quarterbacks. Because if J.J. McCarthy is appearing to be somewhat injury prone, you need to know what you have in pocket. And that's going to have a good backup quarterback. You might as well let him throw it.
Yep, I agree. And that's just let guy get, maybe you get a flag or two, something along those lines. You got to get something going here in this second half. Take some chances because I don't know that you're going to have all that success running the ball now. But at some point, Max Brosman is going to have to get the ball to his, to the best weapon on the field there in Justin Jefferson. And we'll see. And it can't be on 3rd and 15 and you complete a 6-yard pass, right? I mean, you got to get something going here. Another sack here of Jared Goff. Oh, boy. Boy, how is that 31 in-game total? We were just telling people we ain't getting to 30 points. How's that looking now with a 3rd and 18 from the Detroit 28? But the problem was Detroit converted all of these on that touchdown drive. So you got to get off the field here, Minnesota. That's the most important thing. Get the ball back in good field position and see what Brosman can do.
Yeah, and honestly, Minnesota's defense has done their part. Like, this is their job. You kept one of the best offenses in the league to 7 points at halftime. You're keeping them in this game. We're talking about, like, what does the Vikings offense need to do in order to like turn things up? It's like, frankly, I'm not sure that they're going to be in a spot where they need to. If they can get a field goal at attempt to this, and the Vikings defense continues to do what they do, they could win this game 10-7, 13-7. I don't know, something like that. I just don't expect us to be getting a 24-10 final, which is puts us to 34 points. I played the under 31.5. I don't know how we get even close to that.
Well, we got a interception here by the Minnesota defense and returned for pretty good field position here. I don't know what Jared Goff was doing. Shocker, they got blitzed again, and he just kind of aired it up there, and there were 3 Vikings defenders around. So I don't know. They brought it back to right around, looks like midfield here, and that is where the Vikings will start. Now, listen, no harm, no foul, right? Given the fact that you're probably punting anyway. So, but you did give them pretty good, decent starting field position. 130 total yards for Detroit in this game, 43 for the Vikings. That is the story. So it feels like the next big drive play, Tom, is that the winner of this game here? As crazy as that is?
It might be. And 7:57 left on the clock. They're going to get the ball like, I don't want to say the Vikings money line at plus 172 is enticing me, but man, that is like, if they get a field goal out of this, I'm not sure I'm not sure Detroit can punch back on offense because they're not doing anything. So if we can see Brosman just pick up 1 first down and put them in field goal range, their kicker is, I don't know the name off the top of my head, is Will Reichert. Can hit it from deep, especially if they're indoors. 10-7 is what we'd be looking at.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this could be ugly. And the big question we're going to have, Tom, we'll dive into it here, is how ugly will it get? Is it going to be this game uglier than what we're going to get with the Chiefs and the Broncos? Because at least we're getting some quality defense here. And although we've got a first-time starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, starting this next game coming up at 8 o'clock with against the Denver Broncos, it doesn't mean that Chris Jones and the other guys on the defensive side of the ball for Kansas City are going to roll over and let the Broncos come in and embarrass them. So, I do anticipate the Chiefs defense will stand up for the home crowd. I just don't know how many points we're going to get in that game either. The total is what? 37.5, 38?
Yeah. So it's a 38.5 total. Let's say we get to 38 points, which is 24-14. That's 38 points.
That's crazy.
Can they cover a large spread in a game that has such a low total? Right. This is one of the lowest, 37.5. Can they cover a 13.5 or 14-point spread in a game that has a low total? Because at that point, the Chiefs are failing to score 10 points, 13 points, and Denver wins that game 21-13, which they would take absolutely, especially after last week's performance, giving up whatever it's 30, 40, whatever points was to the Jags. I think the Denver defense wants to come out with their hair on fire and just right the ship after a horrible performance last week. And that means keeping the Chiefs under control. So Chiefs cover, game stays under, but Broncos win. Shocking result.
Yeah, exactly. Shocking result here. And listen, I don't think at the same time, Bo Nix on the road is one thing. Bo Nix at home is a different. Are you really, Coach Payton, going to drop him back 40 times in this game? Now, you didn't have a choice against Jacksonville because you were playing from behind. So,
Right.
But to me, like RJ Harvey has got to be, I know you lost Dobbins, but this running game of Denver has to get going at some point. Otherwise, you're asking Bo Nix. Could be a very risky proposition there, especially on the road in Arrowhead.
It really is. I played a Harvey over 54.5 rushing yards. His attempts is 14.5. I got to see if I like that as well. Because to your point, like they just want to get the win. I mean, last week it was only 7 rushing attempts for Harvey. Granted, as you said, they were down the whole time. But 19, 17, 13 in the past 3 games prior to that, that's the kind of level we should be seeing from RJ Harvey, getting into the mid-teens. They're not going to be playing from behind. At least I don't think they're going to be playing from behind by a substantial amount. There should be a running game script for Denver.
I agree. I'm with you. And I think that's how I would build some of these props in this game is around that idea that, especially, listen, if there is no offensive movement like we're seeing from Brosmer, though give him credit, he's picked up a couple of first downs. And they are at the Denver 40. But if this game is over by the second half and Kansas City doesn't look like it's getting anything offensively, I would expect nothing but RJ Harvey and others to get involved in a running game and to take the air out of the ball, shorten the clock, and get out of Dodge. Because a win here for Denver is going to go a long way to make sure that the road to the World Championship goes through Denver. We'll have more in-game live game day for you straight ahead on the grid.
The tree is set, the gifts are ready, but the real action is just getting started.
What gifts do we have for you?
From the first tear of wrapping paper to the final whistle, we are live. Join SportsGrid all Christmas Day for the ultimate coverage. Don't just celebrate.
Somebody pinch me. Is this real?
Win. Merry Christmas from SportsGrid.
When did we become, so bitter that we can't accept another man's apology? We make mistakes all the time. And as a grown man, you have to say, I'm sorry every once in a while. And it's okay to say that. And the apology, I think, should be accepted. And in this case, I'm accepting it.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Arvel Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is or if they're playing a joke on me, Joe.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Who is that?
Here, but I have no idea.
You need to know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Donnie? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the Sports Grid Network as big fourth down coming up here. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio. We're talking about the Lions and the Vikings right now. About 3.5 minutes to go. I believe the Lions, or the Vikings rather, are in field goal range here, Tom. So do we have at least a field goal attempt coming?
Yeah, that field goal is up and in, at least that I'm seeing.
Good.
10-7, the Vikings. So the Vikings go on a 9-play drive that results in a field goal that is up and good. It is still it's a 2.5-point spread down to the Lions, juice minus 132, and the total is dipped down to 30.5. So we'll see a kickoff from the Vikings. Lions get the ball. 3 minutes left in the third. They have all 3 timeouts. You got to go and score a touchdown at this point. That's really what it comes down to. On the NBA side of things, we just got news 2-3 minutes ago that Anthony Davis, due to a groin injury, will not return. So we see this game on the third quarter side of halftime. It's 75-62 Warriors. Cooper Flag is now up to 14 points. Show he's 7-11 from the field, which is great. They're under review right now, but Anthony Davis, 11 minutes, he's done.
Unbelievable. Absolutely. If it ain't one thing, it's another with him. And it's laughable how crazy injury point. You were talking about Glass Joe. My goodness. I don't know who's worse, Anthony Davis or Zion. Who do you think is maybe the worst when it comes to, hey, it's great when you got him for 3 games and then, well, he's going to be hurt for the next 14. So I don't know what to tell you, because that's exactly what you get from those 2 guys. What could have been, and isn't it funny how both somehow are tied into New Orleans? Wasn't Anthony Davis a big New Orleans? Right? Yeah. Isn't that kind of, that's, I don't know, something going on there with New Orleans, because they can't keep their big men healthy long enough to make a difference. But there will be a couple of big men making a difference coming up at the 8 o'clock NBA game. The next NBA game, of course, will be the Rockets taking on the LA Lakers. So the word is Doncic is going, which is good news. If you are a Lakers fan, they'll have Reeves, they'll have LeBron. We'll have a lot of points. I mean, the Rockets are not a sieve when it comes to defense. They play it. They're actually a top 5, top 6 rated team, defensive efficiency. The Lakers are not. And that's the big question mark here, is that which version are we getting at? Are Lakers going to care enough where they're going to be sacrificing bodies to try and stop Durant and Thompson and others here on the Rockets? Or is it just going to be the first one to 140 wins? I think it's the first one to 140 points going to win the game.
Right. That's how I would have to be looking at it. I will say we did just get the confirmed starting lineup for the Rockets. Thompson, Eason, Durant, Smith, Şengün. Şengün was listed as a game-time decision with a calf injury, but he is good to go. Rockets are fully confirmed. We're waiting for the Lakers full confirm. They're still, hour and 15 or 20 minutes before we start, so plenty of time. But it has to be scoring. And, 130, 140 points, I think, is where we're going to see the winner. And, if the Lakers end up winning, I'm not going to be shocked. It's only a 2-point spread. It's not some massive underdog victory at that point. But you give me a 135, kind of 128 finish on either side, I think that's what we're in for. It puts us over the total. Team totals go up and over for who's ever going to be winning. But that's what we should be expecting. I don't expect defense to be front and center in this game.
I do not at all. And I'd be shocked if it's front and center in the Minnesota-Denver game that'll close the night out here. Where, listen, I mean, they've had Minnesota's 10-2 in its last 12 games. They didn't start off great the season here. I think 10-8 is what the Timberwolves were. But obviously they got Anthony Edwards, looks like he's healthy. But to me, this feels like an Anthony Edwards or bust kind of situation here. Having the Joker and Murray at home feels like on Christmas Day, I got more confidence and consistency with that offense than I think anything else. I think they can win this game, no problem. It's certainly a small enough number backing Denver. I just don't think, Minnesota has won a couple of games here against beat up teams here, to say the least. And they still don't have their 3 best defenders, Denver. So they kind of don't have a choice but to score points in order to win games. And boy, it just feels like we're going to get some points in this game when it's all said and done. Are we not?
We are. Cam Goff was intercepted again. Is that what we're saying? He's intercepted again. Oh, so this is where we now see the Vikings flip to a minus 136 favorite. They were just plus 172 a little while ago. We now see the Vikings laying 1.5. Totals 31.5. That hasn't changed too much, but this is unbelievable. Terrible performance from the Lions and Goff and this offense. The first play after the kickoff, intercepted, intended for St. Brown. This is terrible.
Oh, that is. And again, now you don't need a whole lot of yardage. All you need is the opportunity, to get 10 or 15 yards, put them in field goal range again, and here we go. I mean, you're giving them such quality field position, and they've done that all game, where had Minnesota had to start with the average starting position that Detroit is. Every time I turn around, Detroit's inside at their own 15. They're inside their own 20. They've been stuck back there the entire game. And yet you're giving Max Brosmer and his Minnesota team, you're giving them almost at 45-yard line of Detroit starting field position, it feels like, on every drive. And there's only so much your defense can do at that point, as it looks like Jones is running pretty hard too. Now they're inside the Detroit 40. I mean, you're basically setting this defense up for failure here, Tom. That's what they've done all game.
They really have. Minnesota's clearly winning the special teams and the defensive side of things, and they don't need to win to the offense at this point. They can win those other two factors of the game, not score or barely score. They could go up 13-7 and still be in a spot to win this game. Unbelievable performance from the Lions. These last 2 weeks have been terrible. What they did on defense and offense against the Steelers, terrible. What they're doing tonight is just unacceptable.
I agree. I agree. It's ugly, but 4th and 6. Will they go for the field goal? We'll let you know as in-game live game day continues on the grid.
The tree is set, the gifts are ready, but the real action is just getting started.
What gifts do we have for you?
From the first tear of wrapping paper to the final whistle, we are live. Join SportsGrid all Christmas Day for the ultimate coverage. Don't just celebrate.
Somebody pinch me. Is this real?
Win. Merry Christmas from SportsGrid.
When did we become, so bitter that we can't accept another man's apology? We make mistakes all the time. And as a grown man, you have to say, I'm sorry every once in a while. And it's okay to say that. And the apology, I think, should be accepted. And in this case, I'm accepting it.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Arvel Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is or if they're playing a joke on me, Joe.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Who is that?
here, but I have no idea.
You need to know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Don? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, it's going from bad to worse for the Detroit Lions, who are looking to keep their playoff hopes alive in Minnesota. But they can't stop turning the ball over. Welcome back in-game live. Game day here on this very special Christmas edition for you. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio. And I mean, you're running out of chances here, Detroit, because you keep giving Minnesota every chance to bury you here. But fortunately, you have Max Brosmer at quarterback. They have 13 points. I don't think they have 80 yards. There's no way they have 100 yards of offense, Tom, do they? But yet somehow they've managed 13 points and to lead this game 13-7 over the Lions. It's absolutely crazy to me.
37 plays, 70 yards of offense, 1.9 yards per play, and they have 13 points as we approach the end of the third quarter. So, and granted, the Lions are only up at 130 yards, but 70 yards of offense over the course of, I don't know how many drives they've been on in total, but 70 yards in 20 minutes of offense over the course of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drives. 70 yards in eight drives is insanely inefficient, and yet they're leading this game by just one score.
So we have, is it 4 turnovers now total, I believe?
Yeah.
Is that we had 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles. So this is vintage Jared Goff, but not the good kind. And it looks like, Gibbs is finally back out on the field there. So they started off handing the ball to him and he picks up 4 or 5 yards. So, I mean, my goodness, like what in the world? Figure it out here, Detroit. But in-game number-wise, Tom, what are we looking at here now?
The same as it was. The Vikings jumped to a small favorite at -1.5. The line is, the money line, I should say, is -118. Lions are only -108. The total did jump up to 32.5. It was sitting at that 30.5 number. It really comes down to 2 things. Are the Lions in position to score, and how long does this drive take? Because, again, a 10-minute drive does not help them. Like, they need to score quickly in 4 or 5 minutes and then stop them and score again. And I can't imagine how many people have Lions, like some type of Lions, Bills, Ravens, Eagles to make the playoffs parlay preseason, and knowing that 2 of those are dead. I immediately think the Lions are minus whatever it was, 500 to make the playoffs. All those tickets are looking dead.
Yep. Yeah, not good. And listen, let's face it, mathematically they weren't eliminated, but they do need to win not only this game, but who did they close the season out in, Tom? Who is their final game against?
Bears.
Okay, Bears. The Bears. So, and Green Bay has Baltimore this weekend, and then Green Bay finishes with who?
Minnesota.
So this is you're going to need something to break your way with Green Bay in order to be able to lose one of those final 2 games. They need to lose both games, do they not? Because the tie actually, is the tie benefiting Green Bay here that they had with Dallas earlier this year?
That was one thing I was looking at before, because it doesn't hurt their win percentage. And when it comes to opponent strength of schedule, it obviously doesn't help Dallas because it's not bolstering the win percentage, making them better. It's also not making them worse. So it comes down to strength of like a common games or whatever it might be, wherever the pecking order is down the line. The one thing I would say is, if the Lions were to come back and win this game, and then if the Bears were to upset San Francisco on Monday night and the Ravens were to win on Saturday, would the Bears be mathematically locked in? Therefore, they could sit their starters in Week 18, and the Lions could win that game. Yes. There's a ton of permutations of what could happen, but it starts with the Lions winning right now.
Finishing this, and they head into the fourth quarter. They'll have a 1st and 10 from their own 47-yard line as Jared Goff and Amon St. Brown finally connecting. It feels like it's been forever there. But don't think, it's not like they've been lighting up Minnesota. They only got 35, 40 yards altogether here in total yardage in this game. I don't even think Jared Goff has anywhere near 150 yards throwing the ball. There's no way he can, right, Tom?
120.
Oh, my. Unreal. And yet here we are, 13-7, heading into the fourth quarter. Big drive. Don't go anywhere. We got another hour together as in-game live game day on this Christmas continues on the grid.
The tree is set, the gifts are ready, but the real action is just getting started.
What gifts do we have for you?
From the first tear of wrapping paper to the final whistle, we are live. Join SportsGrid all Christmas Day for the ultimate coverage. Don't just celebrate.
Somebody pinch me. Is this real?
Win. Merry Christmas from SportsGrid.
When did we become, so bitter that we can't accept another man's apology? We make mistakes all the time. And as a grown man, you have to say, I'm sorry every once in a while. And it's okay to say that. And the apology, I think, should be accepted. And in this case, I'm accepting it.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Arvel Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is or if they're playing a joke on me, Joe.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Who is that?
here, but I have
Who's
no
Arvel
idea.
Reese? Do you even know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Donnie? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
And welcome in a very happy, Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays to all, as we have got you covered in the sports landscape here in Game Live, Game Day on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio. We got a couple of NFL games, one more to go, in fact, coming up at the top of next hour. You'll have the Chiefs and the Broncos. We got plenty of NBA action happening, including 94-85, Warriors lead over the Dallas Mavericks. And then, of course, we have the Rockets and Lakers coming up, and the Denver Nuggets taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves in Denver for a little late-night NBA action. But the story right now is what is happening in Minnesota with the Lions trying to battle for their playoff lives. Tom, let's bring in our good friend Adam Kaufman here, who is probably throwing up in the hat he's wearing, watching this game, especially if he was backing Detroit. Fifth turnover. Jared Goff got sacked and fumbled again, giving the ball to Minnesota at midfield. They are up 13-7, and we're laughing here. I mean, Adam, you got to be kidding me. Did you have 5 turnovers for Detroit? And, oh, by the way, only down 6 points with 13 minutes to go in this game? Because I certainly thought the game would have been over by now.
No, I mean, maybe 5 turnovers for Minnesota. I mean, this is incredibly embarrassing. I am embarrassed on behalf of Lions fans, which I am not. But to your point, I am a Lions backer, and I am someone that threw Detroit money line in a whole slew of parlays involving NFL teams this week, some that were already killed in multi-sport parlays because I thought the Oklahoma City Thunder were actually going to, show some sack and bounce back at home against Spurs team that they had lost to twice already this year, but apparently that's, their kryptonite. But as far as this game goes, I feel like, and I don't know if you guys are in this same boat, but I guess I only have myself to blame. I don't know why we are sitting here week 16, and I am still trying to convince myself that this Lions team is good. Yeah. It's not. It's not a good team and doesn't deserve to make the playoffs. I guess I still, haven't completely aborted ship on the possibility that Detroit does, because again, I'm not a big Packers guy either, especially in the wake of the Micah Parsons injury. So it's not as though Detroit can't find a way in this one. Like you said, 5 turnovers, only down 6. The thing is, this game, and you guys have talked all about it, you're getting nothing out of the Minnesota offense. Max Brosmer is a disgrace to all NFL QBs who we are to say, like, this is why I constantly with you, Joe, will have the, man, do you think Mac Jones is one of 32? Do you think Jacoby Brissett is one of 32? Like, who of these backups could viably be a starter somewhere? I get all the more confidence in that because I'm watching guys like Max Brosmer getting opportunities here. Granted, he's the third string, really, but even still, the fact that they're trotting him out there with no better option, and it looks like this, he's atrocious. But Jared Goff, that Minnesota defense applies a lot of pressure, and they blitz, and Brian Flores and blah, blah, blah. We know that. But it's not this good. Like, Detroit should be finding a way. You can't turn the ball over 5 times. Jared Goff, you cannot be responsible for 4 of those. You got to get something out of Jahmyr Gibbs. I haven't given up hope here in the fourth quarter with 13 minutes to go and Detroit winning this game. I'm not even sure it's out of the question that Detroit covers in this game. But you need to find a way to sustain a couple of drives here, which so far has not happened.
If we flip over to the night game, which we're also not sure how good that game's going to be, 13.5 point spread in favor of the Broncos, 37.5 over under. What are your thoughts for this game? Because Joe and I have talked about this a lot, and I see this trending towards the under. I see the Chiefs coming away with the cover. Obviously, the Broncos coming away with the win, but the offensive expectation for this game is also super low. It's probably not going to be a good nightcap.
So the only way the Chiefs cover in this game is because Denver decides it doesn't care to. It's really that simple. There's nothing on the Chiefs side that should be considered intimidating to Denver. And this is an important game for the Broncos, as is all the more so next week against the Chargers. The Broncos are tied with the Patriots for the number 1 seed right now. Technically, Denver occupies it because of tiebreakers, but these teams are both 12-3. Denver controls its own destiny. If you're the Broncos, you have to win out, and you get to have the AFC playoffs go through your house. That's what the Denver Broncos should be focused on. The real challenge, I realize, is next week against the Chargers. That game happening at Mile High. But you can't afford the look-ahead spot, especially on Christmas Day. Have a little pride. Go out there, obviously, and take care of business against a vastly inferior team. If we're going to talk about bad third-string quarterbacks, it's not even like Gardner Minshew is going to be out there off of his knee injury. You're going to get, Chris Oladukan. It sounds like a one of the fight moves in the old Street Fighter video game that we grew up playing, Tom. This is insane. That we're supposed to take this guy seriously and this offense seriously. There's no Rashee Rice. There's no even Tyquan Thornton as far as a deep threat. I do think probably Travis Kelce hits his over because it's not even 40 yards, and it's a Broncos team that, one, struggles against the tight end position, giving up top 7 yards in the NFL against that position this year, but also generally, as we talk about all the time, inexperienced QBs look toward tight ends. And Kelce, he's nearing the end of the road. I get that he's not good anymore. These may be his final couple of games. Could be the swan song at Arrowhead, all of that. But shoot, it's not that if they're throwing the ball even in his vicinity, it shouldn't be that difficult for him to get 36, 37, 40, 45 yards. Hell, ladder him up to 50. Go crazy with it, whatever Christmas wad of cash that you got in your bonus. I think that Kelce is probably one of the only reliable weapons. The good run defense on the other side. Chiefs can't run anyway. Again, the Broncos should have no issue winning this game, winning it by margin, so long as they want to and they take it seriously. And I feel like that caveat is always necessary because how many times have we seen the Broncos already this year, despite 12 wins, not take an opponent seriously? I'm inclined to agree with you. I think we go under, as scary as that is with such a low number of, 35.5, 36.5. But honestly, where's the offense coming from in this game?
It's brutal to think about. I mean, it really is. And we're trying to figure it out and go, all right, are we going to get more running by Denver? RJ Harvey the guy? Are we really going to get – how many passes are you going to let Bo Nix throw on the road in this spot here, which is another thing, Adam. Like, give me the game plan. If Denver's up big by the time they get to the third quarter, are we just going to get just run the ball, keep running the ball, run the ball, run the ball? Like, just get out of Arrowhead with a win if I'm Denver at that point, no?
Exactly. Bleed clock and just get out of there,
Right.
which is why, again, the backdoor cover is live. And I will tell you, Bo Nix, looking at some of the trends, for those who care about trends, I like to pay attention to them. I don't necessarily bet exclusively on them, but I like to be aware. And Nix 8-0 against the spread as a favorite last year. This year, just 2-8. So it's a lot of, winning, but not winning comfortably, not winning by margin. And we do have a big spread. It's a 2-touchdown spread here. So again, I think if the Broncos are focused and take this game seriously, there's no reason to believe they shouldn't cover. That being said, I could easily see them just trying to get out of Dodge, to your point, in the fourth quarter. You get a meaningless touchdown or field goal or whatever it is to blow that cover by Kansas City. That's why, honestly, it's probably just a better idea to stay away from the spread.
I want to throw
we
up.
are dealing with an
Think about it.
interesting Saturday night game quickly as we're coming up to a break. But with Lamar not expected to play, the line has moved to 4.5. But we also don't know who's starting for Green Bay at this point. Any thoughts on this?
I think we need more information. To your point, I think the Packers, between these two teams, and I would say this even if we knew Lamar was going to play, I think the Packers are the better team. The Ravens to be playing the way that they are. Not that, even if Lamar doesn't go, Huntley is serviceable for that team. We've seen it within that offense. Harbaugh is able to unlock him in ways that, other teams like Mike McDaniel with the Dolphins couldn't. That being said, they're not good. The Ravens are not good this year. The Packers, in desperation, should be able to take care.
Adam, enjoy the games, my man. We'll see you again, of course, this weekend. We got more in-game live game day straight ahead here on the grid.
The tree is set, the gifts are ready, but the real action is just getting started.
What gifts do we have for you?
From the first tear of wrapping paper to the final whistle, we are live. Join SportsGrid all Christmas Day for the ultimate coverage. Don't just celebrate.
Somebody pinch me. Is this real?
Win. Merry Christmas from SportsGrid.
When did we become, so bitter that we can't accept another man's apology? We make mistakes all the time. And as a grown man, you have to say, I'm sorry every once in a while. And it's okay to say that. And the apology, I think, should be accepted. And in this case, I'm accepting it.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Arvel Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is or if they're playing a joke on the show.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Who is that?
here, but I have no idea.
You need to know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Don? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Yeah. All right, welcome back in-game live game day on this Christmas. Happy holidays. Hope it has been a profitable one for you here before you got to embark on hitting the malls and getting all those returns and everything else going. That's an awful lot of fun here coming up, Tom. But the good news is at least we have some games that are going on. And right now, we're watching the demise of the Detroit Lions down 13-7, 8:53 to go in the game. And I still don't think Minnesota has 100 yards in the game, and yet they have a 6-point lead, 13-7. Why? Thanks to 5 turnovers by the Detroit Lions in this game. I mean, if you'd have told me Detroit only has 7 points at this time, I'd have thought you were kidding, given the fact that their entire season is on the line in this game here.
If you told me they had 7 points, 9 minutes left in the fourth, I would say, okay, Goff, St. Brown, and Gibbs all got hurt on some crazy play and something else happened. But Minnesota has the ball. They're starting at their own 3-yard line or whatever this is, 1-yard line. They're out to the 3 at this point. We got to touch in on the NBA. It's 102-93 for the Mavericks. Yeah. Cooper Flagg is up to 21 points. It puts him over his prop. Steph is still only at 18 points, 5 of 14 from the field, 1 of 8 from deep. But I will say, Joe, we're hovering right around that spread. We're sitting at 9 points right now, and the spread is 8.5. So the live total is up to 237. The live total is back to 8.5. It was 14.5 at one point when Golden State jumped out to a lead. But this is going to end right at that number unless Dallas can get on a bit of a run and start pouring in some more points. Got to remember, Anthony Davis was ruled out at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we're at this point here because that's, given the fact that of how this, you score 71 points in the first half and we're still close enough in this game and 1 run away from keeping it within this number is crazy. I'll take that all day long. And that's kind of what we're dealing with here right now. So that game, I think, is always going to come down to the wire. I think the Houston and Laker game coming up, I'm still looking at it. I'm starting to see 233. So it does look like the over money is coming in. You talked about the starting lineups for both. No shock, right? With Houston and Lakers, everybody who you thought might be playing is playing. And I still think there's some value on the over at 232.5.
There really is at that point. The Lions did just force a punt, though. So yes. Lions forced a punt after it was just a three-play 5-yard drive that only took 121 off the clock, a couple incompletions. They're going to be punting from inside their own end zone, Joe. So the Lions will conceivably get the ball at midfield, give or take.
Yep.
So they're going to have some decent field position. They're plus 102 on the money line. The Vikings are only minus 128, and the total is down to 27.5. Joe, they could win this game 14-13. 14-13, a 5-minute drive, they punch it in. Vikings come back with 2 minutes left on the clock, and then they just can't score because they don't know how to score.
Which is just, it really is kind of crazy. But I'd expect nothing less, right? I mean, just, you got to win. Doesn't matter. You don't need style points. You just have to win, and Detroit will have a good opportunity. They just got to put one drive together because I think it's fair to say expecting Minnesota and Brosman to do anything other than gain 6 yards in a series. That's it. So they've got, all they need is one score, one big play, and I think they should be good to go. Which I think they just got.
As I said, I played the Lions in a teaser, but that was also a teaser for the Lions down to -1, but it was also with the total. So the total's not going to get there. Maybe if you took the Lions in a teaser down to 1, and maybe you took the Seahawks are 7, the Bengals are 7 this week, something along those lines, you would have probably been in a good spot. So as usual, you get one half of the teaser through and then not the other half. But Lions coming away with the win and putting up some yards, I think, is what we're looking at right now.
I can't. They're at the 40-yard line here in Minnesota, so we'll see what they can do. But it seems like, this bend but don't break of Minnesota defense has always figured out a way to make a play when it mattered the most. Can they do it in this situation here? They're going to need to make one more stop because the Lions, are you in 4-down territory? Let me ask you this. Would you kick a field goal if it came down to it, knowing that? I don't know.
It's a great question. It's a great question. Dan Campbell and what he's been known for with 3 timeouts, 4 minutes left on the clock. Do you trust your defense to stop Brosmer one more time? That's a great question. I would say Dan Campbell, like you made your bones, this way going for it. You got to trust your team to do it again.
It's but again, it's now you got 5:38 to go. You said it, 3 timeouts. We got an injury on the field, but they did just pick up a first down. But if things go sideways here, I mean, they're at the Minnesota 32, and you have, let's say, 3.5, 4 minutes on the clock. Do you take the 3, knowing that, all right, now we got to get a stop, get the ball back, but we don't need a touchdown in order to win. Instead, we just need a field goal to keep, give ourselves a chance. Because if it wasn't for that fumble at the 15-yard line, I don't know that Minnesota has a touchdown on the board. And, we're talking about a different, now it's 7-6, and we're talking about a different game. So lots going to be determined here. In the next 2 minutes, can they keep moving the sticks? Can they not make a play in the end zone? Where's St. Brown now?
I think, are they still... Yeah, 8-yard run was last I saw. I'm not sure if they're still dealing with this injury right now, but credit to the Lions defense. Like, they have done their part as best as they can, which is not the thing we'd ever say. We would say, like, okay, like the Lions offense did their job, but the defense gave up the points and could have had it. But the Lions defense did their part. It's the offense that's letting them down, surprisingly.
It's kind of crazy. I thought it would have been the other way around for sure, but here we go. They're going to have to. This defense is coming of Minnesota. He might have to make a decision. Good old Dan Campbell. Is he going to lay it out on the ground? Will he take the 3? Come on back. We'll let you know as in-game live game day continues on the grid.
The tree is set, the gifts are ready, but the real action is just getting started.
What gifts do we have for you?
From the first tear of wrapping paper to the final whistle, we are live. Join SportsGrid all Christmas Day for the ultimate coverage. Don't just celebrate.
Somebody pinch me. Is this real?
Win. Merry Christmas from SportsGrid.
When did we become, so bitter that we can't accept another man's apology? We make mistakes all the time. And as a grown man, you have to say, I'm sorry every once in a while. And it's okay to say that. And the apology, I think, should be accepted. And in this case, I'm accepting it.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Arvil Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is or if they're playing a joke on the show.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Who is that?
here, but I have no idea.
You need to know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Don? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day. Well, we got the answer to our question, which was what would Dan Campbell do if, this drive stalled down 13-7? Would he opt to kick a field goal and leave it to his defense to get the ball back and give him another shot to at least tie this game up? And the answer, I guess, Tom, they did. They kicked the field goal. So now 13-10. Still has 3 timeouts, Detroit. 4:39 to go. So now if you're Minnesota, what's the goal here? To me, it's just first downs, man. Just keep moving the clock. That's it.
It is, but I got to say, 4:39 that's a lot of time. It's not like we're right up against the 2-minute warning and they're out of timeouts.
Yep.
They have 3 timeouts, and they have 4 timeouts, including the 2 minutes. It's 4.5 minutes left. There's a lot of time. So if the Vikings can't string together multiple first downs, which I'm not sure that they're able to do, the Lions are going to get the ball back. It matters how much time and how many timeouts they'll have. And frankly, if they can get these stops early, they're going to have decent field position. So What are we looking at? Minus 162 the Vikings are on the money line. I'm not seeing the spread up as of now. FanDuel at least took it down, but it's 26 total right now.
Just absolutely crazy. I mean, when you think about it, absolutely crazy that we're even at this point in this game. So they did run the ball. They are going to milk the clock here. But at some point, you got to get a first. You got to move the chains here. You got to force Detroit to kind of use those timeouts as well, right? But he's got 41 passing yards, 16 rushing yards, a total of how many? 57 total yards, Max Brosman. I mean, this is laughable that we're at this point. If you'd have told me, hey, listen, what about 3.5 minutes ago, the Vikings only have 75 total yards offense, I'd have been like, what's the score? 48-0? What's going on here? Yeah, no.
Yeah, I would have said the Lions would have been covering by 14 or 20 points. For as good as the Vikings defense is, if they're just not putting up any resistance, the Lions would have found some holes. They would have scored. St. Brown and Gibbs both have over 100 yards, something along those lines. But we did just see Minnesota take a timeout. So it's going to be 2nd and 10 coming out of this timeout. It's still 13-10. And Jones is 13 of 40 for 42 on the ground. He's not being overly efficient in any capacity.
Right. Chandler is also in there. Tyson Chandler, is it? Who was that now? Ty Chandler? Yeah.
Ty Chandler, one of the backups because Mason is out. And we have this conversation every week, and we're seeing it more and more as generally as the season goes on. Are there legitimately only 15 humans in the world that can play quarterback?
Oh, boy.
It's gone. Is there 20?
Gone. Game. I think he didn't get him. I think it's a touchdown. Wow. Was that who was that? Anderson? Like an end around. What was that?
Right. That's a
wow.
Is that Jordan Addison, number 3?
Oh, that could be because he was flying. He was flying. Yep, that's it. 65-yard touchdown. Oh, it almost felt like a quick end around, but that's it. And they're going to review this, but it certainly looks like he had it inside the pylon there, diving for it. And just like that, 20-10. My goodness. And it wasn't a pass either. It was a run, right? It was like an end around.
Yeah, I'm seeing it as listed as a run. 1 run for 65 yards for Addison. We got to see this. Don't tell me. Okay, he dives in. I mean, it looks good. He looks good. I see 20-10 now. So touchdown is up and in, along with the extra point. So
extra point. Yeah.
Detroit, your season is done. It looks like you're not scoring twice in 3 minutes. At least I don't think.
I said, who was the one team that was going to make the one big play, and that was the team that was going to win it? And that's exactly what Minnesota just did. In one play with Jordan Addison, he matched the total amount of yards Minnesota had on the day offensively. Minnesota still has, and this might be the most amazing stat, they still have -6 net yards passing in this game. With that, even with, and they have 20 points. I don't even think, I mean, you've got nobody to blame but yourself, Detroit. That's it.
You really did. They played, I'm not going to say Detroit played perfect on defense, but for 95% of this game until this one play, they played awesome. The defense did not let them down. The Lions offense let them down.
Absolutely. 5 turnovers. You don't deserve to win, and you deserve to have your season go up in flames, which is exactly, I could make the argument the Lions lost last week when they lost to Pittsburgh. Their season was over, but not good for Detroit. We got more to get to, though, as in-game live game day continues on the grid.
The tree is set, the gifts are ready, but the real action is just getting started.
What gifts do we have for you?
From the first tear of wrapping paper to the final whistle, we are live. Join SportsGrid all Christmas Day for the ultimate coverage. Don't just celebrate.
Somebody pitch me. Is this real?
Win. Merry Christmas from SportsGrid.
When did we become, so bitter that we can't accept another man's apology? We make mistakes all the time. And as a grown man, you have to say, I'm sorry every once in a while. And it's okay to say that. And the apology, I think, should be accepted. And in this case, I'm accepting it.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Arvel Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is or if they're playing a joke on me, Joe.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Who is that?
Here, but I have no idea.
Do you even know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Donnie? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the SportsGrid Network. A very Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays Detroit, I don't know how happy the holidays are here today as they are about to watch their entire season end here. No postseason for them unless something happens in the next 3 minutes. They are down 20-10 to the Minnesota Vikings, who have -6 yards passing in the game and yet have 20 points, 20-10. And Jared Goff just turned it over, it looks like, one more time. And that, Tom, will be the end of the Detroit season. That is unbelievable. I'd like to say Minnesota won, but Detroit lost this in so many different ways.
And the turnovers, the inefficiency on offense, again, like the Lions offense was not the thing I thought was going to let us down in this game. I thought it would be the Lions defense. I thought it would be the Vikings offense. And granted, the Vikings offense did let us down. They had a 16-play drive, a 16-yard touchdown drive on 5 plays because they were gifted it inside the red zone. And then they had this end-around play, trick play to Jordan Addison to score. Like, that's where their offense has come from. On every other drive, it's been terrible offense, incompletions, punts, and a couple field goals. But that's enough to get them across because the Lions offense is doing absolutely nothing. So to your point, Van Ginkel on Minnesota just recovered the fumble by Jared Goff. It's 20-10, and it looks like we're all buttoned up on this one. I will say, in the NBA side of things, the Warriors just jumped out to a little bit of a lead. It was within 7 points. They knocked down a couple shots. It's 115-104 at this point. Live total is 237, and the spread's up to 10.5. So it was within 7 points, but Dubs at home, I think they're getting it done, and looks like they're coming away with the win. Dallas just not there right now.
No, and again, Anthony Davis played like a quarter, and then shocker, and now it's a groin injury. So that's the end of that for Anthony Davis as well. But we are getting ready, of course, top of the hour for the Lakers, who aren't even getting any late money. Still seeing right around 232 for a total in that one. Still 2.5 for Houston in order to get this one covered. Kevin Durant and company. It just feels like all right, is it going to be Reeves and Doncic? Is it just going to be, is Durant the guy to back in these big primetime spots?
Yeah.
It just feels like the point totals should be up and over for all of those guys.
It really should. We just got the Lakers confirmed starting lineup: Doncic, Reeves, LeBron, Rui Hachimura, and DeAndre Ayton. So they are all good to go. Everyone's in, as you would assume. With stars are going to play on Christmas. Confirmed for the Rockets as well. Durant's in there. Everyone's good to go. Şengün was dealing with the calf thing and was his game time decision. He is in. So there's nothing to suggest that this game doesn't end again like 138 to 125 on either side.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's exactly what it's going to come down to. It's going to be a free-for-all of sorts here, and I, for one, am all for it. But we then have Denver and Minnesota. That one looking like 238.5, and pretty much a pick-em price at this point. A lot of money coming in on Minnesota at this time because the injuries continue to pile up for Denver. But there's something about playing on Christmas in Mile High with the Joker. As long as you got the Joker and Murray, I think they're pretty good here. Call me crazy.
I would say the same thing. Minnesota, like I don't want to say that they've played too much basketball, and like I feel like I don't want to say they missed their window, but they just don't seem to have that it factor. Like they've been to conference championships, but knowing where OKC is, knowing you have this rising threat with San Antonio, I'm not sure how much I'm willing to back Minnesota moving forward. Like, I think they've lost their luster essentially, and the light has dimmed on them. And I'm looking to fade them time and time again. I just don't know if they have enough of a complete team. And what you mentioned before is the defense from them is not the same as it was in years past.
No, it's not. But it does look like Cameron Johnson has been ruled out for Denver as well. Valanciunas still questionable, but I believe he is going there. And I believe Bones Highland and Jaden McDaniels also questionable for Minnesota. But give me the Joker and Murray to go over there and go nuclear, and that sometimes is all it takes in order to win a game at home, and that's exactly what they'll have a chance to do. In the meantime, we got to get ready for Kansas City, and we got to get ready for Denver. That's your final game in the NFL on this Christmas Day. And the more I'm looking at this, and I thought we'd start to see more Denver money come in, but doesn't appear that we're seeing more Denver money. This just won't hit 2 touchdowns. I think 13.5 is probably the best we're going to get at this point.
It probably is. And again, leaning towards Kansas City, lean towards the under. Listen, this is going to be an ugly game. I really do. I really think this is going to be an ugly game. It's not going to be enjoyable to watch. And again, if you're a Denver fan, you should be saying, okay, last week happened. We got to come out. We got to right the ship. It's got to be defense. It's got to be a little bit of Bo Nix, a lot of RJ Harvey once the game gets going, in that direction. But I think Kansas City's the right side to be on. If you can get the 13.5 of them, I think they cover.
First half, 7 is what Denver is laying. 20 is the total, Tom, for the first half. If we don't think Kansas City offensively is going to do anything, how many points are we talking about here with the Broncos in the first half? Are they getting all 20 themselves?
Oh, that's a good question. They're going to get what's a 13? Because this really comes down to what you view of the Kansas City defense. Like, I still think the Kansas City defense is good. Last week, maybe they're coming off of, like, there's just so much emotion losing Pat Mahomes. You go on the road. Like, last week, I think, is a blip on the radar. I still think the Kansas City defense is good enough. And if you told me that they held the Broncos to 13 points in the first half or 14, I'd be hard-pressed to say that Kansas City also puts in 7 or 10 of their own. I'm not confident that they get 7 points or 10 points in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a primetime dog on a Thursday night, divisional dog with a low total and getting 2 touchdowns. Take the names off the jersey, Don, just from a pure numbers and trends perspective. This is Kansas City or not, at this point, right? So it just feels like this is, as much as ugly as it is, My goodness, because there's no way Denver was looking past Jacksonville because they knew they had Kansas City. They already knew Mahomes was out. So
right. So I would say it's Kansas City or pass. That's how I think you should.
It has to be, right?
Right.
We're also seeing double-digit wind gusts there tonight in Kansas City. So, yeah, again, I think this is going to be all about who can run the ball. Now, we got backups to the backup on the offensive line of Kansas City. So I don't know how good this offense is going to be. I think a first half under, full game under for me is the way to go because I would only bet dog or pass here. There's no way. And if I'm Denver, I'm taking no risks in this game at all. And now, Bo Nix, passing props, under?
Like a part of me
anytime touchdown? Like, who do we go with?
I would prefer that. Frankly, there's a small part of me that thinks based on how Denver played last week, they at least need to build some confidence with Bo Nix and at least have him go out there and look good. But that may be contained to the first half. Like if you're betting on Bo Nix props, you have to hope that he gets it done in 2 or 3 quarters. So if you were to look to him over 1.5 passing touchdowns, if I can find that super quickly, you have to think that if he gets over 1.5 at -112, you have a half to do that. You may not even need 3 quarters.
Yeah, you may not even need it. Exactly correct. Unbelievable. And it looks like Minnesota has just kept the ball on Detroit. Unbelievable. All right, we got more in-game live game day getting you ready for the Chiefs and Broncos next here on the grid.
The tree is set, the gifts are ready, but the real action is just getting started.
What gifts do we have for you?
From the first tear of wrapping paper to the final whistle, we are live. Join SportsGrid all Christmas Day for the ultimate coverage. Don't just celebrate.
Somebody pinch me. Is this real?
Win. Merry Christmas from SportsGrid.
When did we become, so bitter that we can't accept another man's apology? We make mistakes all the time. And as a grown man, you have to say, I'm sorry every once in a while. And it's okay to say that. And the apology, I think, should be accepted. And in this case, I'm accepting it.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Arvel Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is or if they're playing a joke on me, Joe.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Who is that?
here, but I have no idea.
You need to know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Donnie? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
And welcome back, in-game live game day here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio as we are watching the Detroit season go up in flames as the Minnesota Vikings, adding insult to injury, just kicked another field goal to make it a 23-10 lead over these Lions. Just 60 seconds left in the Lions season, and they could not have gone out on a worse way. 6 turnovers altogether now, Tom, when it was all said and done for Detroit?
6 turnovers.
To none.
5 of them by Goff.
Yes.
The 3 interceptions. Yeah, just unbelievable stuff from them. I will say we did just see the Warriors win. They won that game by 10. They do end up covering. Just the 8.5 that we had just missed by a bucket essentially. I will say I did just see the Lakers move, or I should say the Rockets move to 2.5 point favorites from 2. So 2.5 now for the Rockets. 231.5 total. That game starts in about 25 or 30 minutes or so. 8:10, 8:15 start for that one. So that's at least somewhat interesting. The Lions are getting the ball back, and they did just complete a pass. So Goff is picking up yards, a 17-yard completion to Slaw for them, but I don't think they're going to score or do anything with this.
Is the total in play in this game? I don't even double check. Do we need? I think the total was 44.5. Was it not?
Yeah.
44.5, 45?
Yeah, so 44.5. This is going to stay under, even with right. Even with the touchdown, it'll only get us to 40.
It's not going to help. Yeah, it's not going to help them one way or the other. So dead under in that one. Dallas went over. That total was 50.5, 51. Dallas closed an 8.5 point favorite. That didn't cover. So it seems like it's an underdog kind of day here, Tom, on this Christmas, because we saw a lot of underdogs win on Thanksgiving, and now we've got another underdog coming up with the Kansas City Chiefs, the biggest underdog of the day. Boy, this has got shades of that, what was that, Cincinnati versus Baltimore situation, too, the late game on Thanksgiving where nobody thought Cincinnati would have a shot, and they end up winning outright as well. So I guess anything is possible here on these short weeks.
Right, yeah. I was going to say any given Sunday, but short week brings us a Thursday with 3 games. What we see, I think we're going to know really early for this Kansas City-Denver game. We're going to know really early if the drives for Kansas City on offense look along the lines of what we've seen from Brosmer and Minnesota now. It's going to be a long, long day for him back there. A lot of pressure. Once Kansas City gets into obvious passing situations where they need to pass, that's where Denver's defense will shine. If the game can stay close and they can be in somewhat of a running game script, Kansas City will have a shot to be in it and cover. But if they have to pass, Denver's defense is going to tee off on them.
I think there's a lot of props you could play in this game too here. And we talked about RJ Harvey. His yardage prop rushing was a little low. It was under 50 yards, I think, during the week. Now it's at least up to 54.5. And I still think it's low from that. I think attempts are probably a little low. And I would look to try to fade the completions or the pass attempts for Bo Nix too, because if this game script goes the way we think it's going to go, I don't know how many times is he really dropping back and throwing the ball? And there's got to be an anytime touchdown scorer. So who is it though, Tom? For being honest,
I think Harvey was sitting at minus 125 last time I saw. Maybe I was looking at a different game. He's minus 160 now. Honestly, the way that I would play this Sutton is plus 145. Troy Franklin is plus 220. Oftentimes what I like to do in this situation is I would play both of them, both Sutton and Franklin, at let's call it a half unit on both. But as long as one of them comes through, you're coming out net positive because it's plus 145 and plus 220. So, in a roundabout way, I want to bet on Denver to score. I don't know who it's going to be. It could come early, it could come late, it doesn't matter. But as long as one of them comes through, you come out positive. When it comes to Bo Nix, we're looking at 229 passing yards for him. His completions are 22 juice to the under, and his attempts are 34.5. Juice minus 138 to the under. If Bo Nix has to throw the ball 35 times, Joe, does that mean Kansas City's live? If he has to throw the ball 35 times, does that mean Kansas City is in a spot to win this game? Because that would be an objective failure for Denver if that's the case for him.
And I think that's exactly correct. If you're asking him to throw the ball 35 or more times, then something went terribly wrong in his game planning against this Kansas City team, because it's not. And don't forget, we've seen the Broncos play with their food a lot this year. How many one-score games have we seen them in? Like against the Titans, against the Jets, against the Giants, against the Raiders, right? And all of those games had the same thing in common. They were all very slow-paced games. The defense controlled it. Bo Nix is not being asked to do a lot. I think the same thing here. Who is the backup, by the way, to R.J. Harvey? Is it McLaughlin or who is it?
Yeah, I still think it's Jaleel McLaughlin. If that's so, it's Dobbins is out. It's McLaughlin and Tyler Bidet are the two running backs that they have behind him. So they normally like to use Bidet in passing situations. Listen, they may just want to get him some run just because they take Harvey out of the game after the third quarter, just because they already lost Dobbins, as we talked about before, that they are pushing to the playoffs. You don't want to have your starting running back out there longer than you need to.
Right. Well, I agree. And if they are leading and it looks like we're not getting anything from there, well, then, yes, it looks like they'll be rotating running backs, and that's what we're going to have. And that's how I would absolutely do it. Byron Karlaftis is actually playing here tonight against the Broncos. So they'll still have Chris Jones. They'll still have Nick Bolton. Well, so the defensive side of the ball for Kansas City very much intact, except for their secondary, which you'll have some backups. But they've had a lot of them throughout the year, which again leads me to believe they're going to be asking, I don't know, that's got pass rush written all over it here tonight. Be careful with the Bo Nix props. We'll round it out for you, get you ready for the rest of the evening as in-game live game day continues on the grid.
The tree is set, the gifts are ready, but the real action is just getting started.
What gifts do we have for you?
From the first tear of wrapping paper to the final whistle, we are live. Join SportsGrid all Christmas Day for the ultimate coverage. Don't just celebrate.
Somebody pitch me. Is this real?
Win. Merry Christmas from SportsGrid.
When did we become, so bitter that we can't accept another man's apology? We make mistakes all the time. And as a grown man, you have to say, I'm sorry every once in a while. And it's okay to say that. And the apology, I think, should be accepted. And in this case, I'm accepting it.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Arvel Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is or if they're playing a joke on the show.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Who is that?
here, but I have no idea.
You even know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Donnie? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live game day here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio. Merry Christmas to you and yours. A very happy holiday as we get ready to close out this edition of In-Game Live Game Day as we get ready for the final NFL game of the evening, and that will be at Arrowhead with the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Denver Broncos. But interestingly enough, Tom and I were just talking with the Minnesota win over Detroit. Detroit is now eliminated from the playoffs for the first time since 2022, which is kind of crazy, Tom. They've kind of been a staple here recently of the when it comes to the playoffs, but no more. That leaves an 11-4 Bears team. And now Green Bay, you're telling me, has already clinched a playoff spot with 9 wins. So what is left to play, really, for the Bears and even Green Bay moving forward? I guess the Bears need some combination of a win and a Green Bay loss, and they clinch the division, right? Is that basically
right?
It?
Yeah, that's what it's looking like as of now. Packers play Saturday night at the Ravens. We've talked about this a little bit, the fact that Lamar is listed as doubtful, not expected to play. The Green Bay quarterback situation is far more interesting because they've clinched their spot. Can they technically win, still win the NFC North? Yes. Can they, what wild card spot they would have is still obviously up in the air. But if your spot is clinched, do you need to bring back Jordan Love from the concussion? And he hasn't officially cleared concussion protocol yet. But the point being is if Malik Willis is good to go, he's a serviceable enough backup to have him out there. Let Love rest. Now, if you're going to rest him in week 17, I don't know if you would even play him in week 18. So now you're giving Love 2 weeks off before the playoffs. Is that too much time off? So, as we were discussing during the commercial break, there are so many different factors going on in this. Could I see Love starting and maybe he only plays 2 or 3 quarters just because you want him out there, and then you sit him the rest of the game and then you sit him all in week 18? Who knows? They both have to be officially clear to play to begin with.
And it's not like the Bears, they're going to be taking on the 49ers on Sunday night. And the 49ers are still alive for the number 1 seed, by the way, and the NFC West division. I mean, the 49ers are 11-4, and so are the Chicago Bears. So, the 49ers at home are very much alive and still fighting to try and get out of that currently the number 5 seed, right? Still a lot in that game to be determined. Chicago loses that. Green Bay wins on Saturday. Then all of a sudden, a division crown and a home game. Who does the home game mean more to? Chicago or Green Bay?
Oh, I mean, I would say it probably means more to Chicago. Younger quarterback, first-year head coach, those sorts of things. Now, this is not to say that Jordan Love has an immense amount of playoff experience and those sorts of things, but going on the road as a first-year head coach and a second-year quarterback, a spot that you've already struggled and or lost earlier in the season, that's certainly a tough spot. So you would want Bears would want to be at home. What would they be? -1.5 at home, maybe even 1.5 underdog to Green Bay, or if they were to play in the playoffs, but I would not say the season's over for the Bears at any point. I should say not buttoned up at this point. They're secure, but the division title does matter to them.
It does matter to them. So, which is going to make that Saturday game very interesting against the Ravens, even though we know Lamar is not playing. And it makes that Sunday night game there with the Bears and the 49ers a little interesting as well, Tom. In fact, the only thing left to decide in the NFC, it looks like, is who's going to win that disgusting division in the South. Is it going to be Carolina or is it going to be Tampa? And that is probably not going to be decided until next week.
No, Bucks are taking on the Dolphins. They're road favorites at the Dolphins. The Panthers are home underdogs of 7.5 points, which is a spot that we've seen them succeed as over a touchdown underdogs. They've won outright at Green Bay. They won outright at home as 10.5-point underdogs against the Rams just a couple weeks ago. They're taking on the Seahawks, the Panthers, that is. So Panthers coming off a win, taking on the Seahawks. Seahawks are coming off that crazy Thursday night game against the Rams, so they have extra rest. But they are traveling west to east. And the Bucks, they just need to win this game, build some momentum going into the final week of the season.
It's all they need to do. Unbelievable. So here we go. A little clearer picture. We'll see what if Denver can hold on to that number 1 seed with the Kansas City Chiefs on tap next. That's coming up again. The Denver Nuggets, the Denver Broncos, 13.5-point favorites. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, enjoy the games. Tom and I will see you again soon. In-game live game day on the grid. Enjoy.